Oh, so new video. She's been cut. I've done a fair bit since then. I haven't videoed because I've really been just working out kind of what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. But basically now I've got two of these pipes bent up. They actually fit into the door. So what I've actually done to allow for the kind of, I want to have half of the pipe in the car and half of the pipe out, I've actually cut a lot of all that out there. And I didn't video of any of this part because I was really kind of working it out. Originally I took a piece of pipe, I measured up with a tape measure around this whole outside of the door. It was 900 mil about there, so we just went 950 just to be 100% sure. I started down here by cutting out all of this part, all of this part, all of this part, and we had a little bit of a test piece that we're using of just 32 nominal bore pipe, and we can fit that in there now. Fits nice and snug in there. Because this has a 42mm outside diameter, I cut this pipe 20mm short, so now when you fit that onto there, it leaves that quarter sticking out for that rolled edge. So the pipes are pretty easy to make. I've just got a basic pipe bender that I've been using. You have like different dies for fitting in different pipes. So this one's on the 32 nominal bore. You've got different kind of pins. It's pretty basic. When you come over here though, this pipe will slot in and it fits pretty well. Like, it's not perfect in some spots, you can see there. I've actually flattened out, so that's where that plastic goes. I've flattened out all of that, so it doesn't actually sit perfectly some spots, but otherwise it's good. The other thing I've done is down here, I've taken a little angular cut up there because that piece right there will be welded to both like the bottom of that sill and the side of that sill. So yeah, I was able to take that bit of material out. Other part I've done is I've cut that flush about a couple mil below these two top rails, because the plan is you have to put a little plate to cap that off, about 3mm plate. Let's then start the other section of pipe, which will travel up there, and the other side looks pretty similar. The pipes are bent similarly and all that, but they're a little bit different at the same time. So what I'm actually going to do now is get these doors, because when I cut it, these doors wanted to move back a bit, so pull that out, pull these doors out a little bit, it leaves the normal gap there. Tack all this in place so the door and everything is lined up together, and then I can actually start envisaging the rest of the pipe and the two rails that I'll have across there, on there, and then one at about halfway across out of RHS. The other thing I need to do is, once I've got these doors tacked up, I need to actually weld kind of in there, weld all this kind of stuff together, because this is all really loose. Like, that's all, you can't see it's loose because I can't bend it with my hand, but if that got hit by something, it'd buckle really easily. All this stuff's got to be welded together down here. need to get that tacked up. Now I'm going to tack in the little lower bars that I've made. I'm actually going to get a good view of it, and then I'm going to start cutting RHS to make the bars that go top and bottom, or both below the window. Right, so I've tacked up all these, as you can see down here, just to get a good look. Tacked up there as well. Done the same to the other side. Now what I'm doing is I'm cutting out another section of RHS to sit along this bottom piece. That one is actually for up here to go along there. But then what I'm going to do is prop them up like this. I'm going to come down on top with a hole saw. So this is a bit smaller diameter than the pipe because it kind of flares out a bit, but I'll come on top of it like that. So when I weld the pipe to the RHS about there and there, it should slot right in there and wrap around and be easy to lay beads straight around there. So that's the next thing I'm doing. I've just got that other one set up over there, I've just marked it where to cut it. I'm just going to cut that there. Big 9-inch right there is right. And yeah, before I started welding, I forgot to disconnect my battery, so bit of a mistake, but oh well. This has just been drilled. That's cut out of there. I've got a gap there that I need to fill in with a couple of these little pieces of plate. The same's done to the other side. It's got a nice hole drilled through the top. The other length is there, and that goes across the top. So I'm going to get this one tacked in, see how it looks, and then move on to the next one. But first off, I think I'm going to have to weld the door shut. I'm not sure. I'll see how I go. Okay, so now everything's kind of still tacked in, but I've just actually welded the top of that door panel. It's actually quite hard because you've got that massive gap there to fill in. You can kind of see there, it's a bit rough, those welds, but oh well. Lay some beads later on this thicker stuff, but yeah, that's still all tacked on. I've only just really started doing this because I had a bit of a problem where this was flared out like to here and it looked really bad, so I had to cut a bit of material off the RHS and cut a bit of material off the end of the pipe, but she's all right now. So now I'm going to go fix up this one, get it cut to 1700 mil, and then that'll go in here. That's going to be a bit harder because these pieces are slanted, so I'll have to work something out for there to fit that in. And then after that, I'm going to be moving on to the rest of the roll bar that goes up over here. And I think what I'm going to do is make two, to one from go here all the way across and then halfway, the other one to go from halfway down there again, and then just join them in the middle. But I think first of all I'm going to hit this and get that welded up. So I've just finished tacking the second piece now, so you can see here just a couple little tacks. It's really straight, so that should roll off there and follow that line to the other side, which it does. I've started actually just grinding these welds away, because when you look down here, when you bog, you want to be able to get that flat edge, but I'll let the bog cover up that. I just want to get it all cleaned up so it's a bit, so it doesn't stick out as much. Next I'm gonna start working on this bar that comes up here, but also I have to weld the bottoms of the doors closed. I'm not sure what I'll do first in terms of either making this bar, putting a piece of plate in here, because I've kind of thought about the quarter glass idea, and I think I'm just going to scrap that, because when having this rolled edge does all this extra stuff where I'd like down here where I'd like to put, say, like something to retain it. So I think I've just almost decided to scrap that idea. I might just go with a flat sheet here. But the other thing is, when you open this up, I've got to get a piece of sheet, weld all of that closed, make it follow through here, weld all of that, all this closed, what I'm going to move on to now is welding the bottom of that door. Right, so I've just finished up welding that bottom part of the door, and what I've just done, and I haven't really videoed it, I've just cut out these little caps just with a 44mm hole saw, just out of a bit of old cut up RHS that was sitting out the back. So I've cut two of them out, and what I've actually done is capped off this pipe. So I put on the little cap, welded that all up, as you can see there, and it was already pretty flush, but I just grinded the top off so it's really quite flat on there now. So now when the pipe that comes from up here comes down, it'll just sit flush on that cap and weld straight on there. So now what I'm actually going to do, take this one around the other side. I've got to just clean off the burrs and stuff, you can see that. Grind that down a little bit just to make it, it's not 100% flat right there now. Just to make it flat, sit that in there and weld all that up. Then I'll probably weld this other half of this bottom door, and then it'll actually be on to cutting out all this stuff, because these both these sills need to be cut out because I need to put the pipe through here. I'm going to flatten all these little ridges, going to flatten them out, so that'll just mean getting pliers and bending them down a bit so the pipe actually flows nicely along them. And then I'm going to start making the top piece of the roll bar. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Anyway, I'll put the weld on that, grind that down, weld that down, and get to it. That's the problem. Holy shit. So I just finished welding this, as you can see there, but all of a sudden I smelled this burning smell. I looked over and the insulation under the seat's bloody on fire. So too lucky I smelled that, but oh well, that'll be right. Got a watering can there. Good piece of advice when you're doing just a lot of welding, grinding anyway. Have a bit of a safety precaution. Otherwise that would have lit up that whole thing, lit up all that and everything. But I think I might only have to grind a little bit off the surface there, but that looks pretty good otherwise. Should be pretty flat, yep. Alright, so now I've got both of these bits capped off. Looks really nice. I've just measured up here from about the middle around this corner and down to here with the tape measure. It come in at about 1250mm, but I'm just going to go 13 just for like safekeeping, because I'd rather be too long than too short. So I'm just gonna, I'll just put this in here a bit dodgy. I couldn't be bothered to get out the drop saw, so I'm just gonna use a 9" and hack it off there. And then I'm actually gonna get a little 4" and start cutting out the inside of this. I'll cut up here, cut out here, and to finish it off up there. Just make that little 20mm cutout so I can fit that pipe in there. Sweet. Bit of a stitch up. I broke the last disc for the guy grinder, so yeah, I would have used that to cut out that last seal up there, but since that's broken, I just have to use the 4-inch. So yeah, now I'm just gonna cut off that pipe with the 9-inch and then start bending and making that kind of stuff again. And I actually show that process now and how to use that pipe bender, how to use pie cuts, because I didn't really show it for these pieces of pipe here, and I think some of you would be keen to see how that's actually done. So yeah, I think I'll just hit that.